Coronavirus running amok all over the sporting landscape, and we're going to cover it top to bottom today and what it means here locally, and we'll figure it out the rest as we go. I understand LSU's contingent is still in Nashville, which is where we find LSU Senior Associate AD Robert Munson, who's good enough to join us here from Jump. Thank you for the time, sir. You all still in Nashville?
Yeah, we're still here. I think we're going to try and get out of here around 6 or 6:30 this evening. We're able to get a plane to get the team and staff out and back home.
Can you walk us through what the last, call it, 24 hours has been like?
It's been a challenging 24 hours, but I tell you what, there's been a lot of coordination up here. Certainly one of the positives, if you can call it that, is that everyone was here and able to kind of sit down together and discuss this situation and come to an agreement on how to move forward. So as difficult as it has been, and as trying as it has been, in the end, I think the decisive action by the league is just and prudent, and I think it's the right direction.
Let's go specifically with the basketball tournament and then move on to everything else. When did you all learn that the basketball tournament was not going to happen?
Yeah, we found out last night that the tournament itself was not going to occur without any fans in the stands, and then of course that changed a little bit as more information came in, and then we learned that in fact the tournament would be canceled altogether. Not a complete surprise, but certainly a quick moving target that everyone had to deal with here.
So we find out that the men's basketball tournament has been canceled. Was that in, as best you know, in response to everyone else? Just sort of the feeling like this has to be what happened because that's what everyone's doing right now?
No, I think certainly there's context to be considered, and some of that context is the NCAA and other organizations. But, in the end, Matt, what you're looking at here is a constantly moving target. It's a fluid situation. So what the decision may be today is based on the information that's in front of us. And as that information changes, the decisions may change. What
was the reaction from coaches, players there whenever they learned the news that the tournament was suspended?
I think there came a point where it felt a little bit inevitable, frankly, Matt. And, again, you referenced some of the things going on in the sports world outside of collegiate athletics and outside of the SEC. And you see those things happening, and you start to slowly realize, this thing's pretty big, and things are going to change, and they're going to have to change pretty quickly. So, I think it probably felt a little bit inevitable to most folks.
Is there a feeling as to whether or not the NCAA tournament will be played?
I think there's certainly a hope that it will. It's difficult to see how that might happen. I know the NCAA is looking into every nook and cranny of this thing and trying to make the best decision that they can. Obviously, your student athletes and your coaches want to play. That's what they've been working for all season. But then again, you've got a very serious public health situation that really has to take priority. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I can't speak to the NCAA issues, but it's certainly something we're watching very, very closely.
Do the schools have any recourse or say so there? Or is that just specifically whatever is dictated from the NCAA is what the word is?
No, I certainly wouldn't use the word dictate. I mean,
okay.
I think obviously at some point they're going to make a decision, and that has to be. But in the meantime, there's a lot of discussion and dialogue. I'll tell you, Matt, this has been a lesson in collaboration and a lesson in open conversation. There's really nothing that's left off the table, certainly within the conference and within collegiate athletics. This is such an unprecedented situation. We all have to kind of band together and talk and come up with ideas and solutions. And ultimately, a decision has to be made. But I wouldn't refer to what's happened here as a dictate any more than I would a decision that the NCAA ends up making.
Okay. Poor word choice. It didn't mean as such. Just if it was the NCAA making the decision or if it was a collaboration among presidents or conference commissioners or anything like that.
It's definitely a collaboration.
Okay.
And what's good is it's beyond athletics because, of course, this is much bigger than just athletics. So presidents and chancellors have been a part of every conversation and meeting and will continue to be. This is a big, big issue, and we all need to be at the table.
So the second piece of or second alert that came down from the SEC was that the suspension of all the regular season competition for teams has been in effect until March 30th. How did the league come to this decision? And why?
I think
And why? Maybe more importantly, too, Robert. Why March 30th?
Yeah, I think they were looking for a date in which that this policy could be reviewed. Certainly, nothing is written in stone, and I think the commissioner was pretty clear on that today in his press conference that the March 30th date could change. That could alter as more information becomes available. But there was a desire to have a time frame in which we could all review the effectiveness of new policies, and I think that's why that was chosen. And there's some championships that occur before the 30th and some that occur after the 30th. So from a calendar perspective, it made some sense. But as this situation changes, I think you might see some other changes as well.
Okay. Specifically with LSU, spring football, are they going to continue practicing?
They are. Currently, there's not an impact on practices, and that's true for all sports, by the way.
Okay.
That's being left up to the discretion of the institutions and the teams themselves. So every team, every institution is going to have a slightly different situation to deal with. But for football, all of the spring practices are not impacted by this policy. But again, that's up to the discretion of the program.
So just to be clear, baseball, softball, gymnastics could all continue practicing if they want.
That's correct.
Okay. Have you had a conversation with Coach Maneri or Coach Torina or with Didi about what they elect to do?
I've not had that opportunity yet. I'll probably be speaking with all of them tomorrow. So, I expect that there'll be some practices, but again, you've got to keep a close eye on this thing, and if the situation changes on the ground, you've got to be willing to change with it.
This might be too presumptive at this point, but are there any contingencies for the NCAA tournament? Because I don't know if you've heard, Robert, but both Duke and Kansas have announced they're done. So for the spring. So are there any contingencies where is it even possible that the NCAA tournament could be played in the summer?
I've not heard any plans for that. That sounded reasonable to me, but listen, Matt, this is an entirely unprecedented situation, and people are coming up with some creative ideas to address it. But no, I've not heard of any definitive plans to do that.
Okay. All right, Robert Munson, anything else that's pertinent that we haven't covered yet?
Well, I think our fans have a lot of questions. They have a lot of questions about tickets. They have a lot of questions about scheduling. Are some of these events going to be rescheduled? And I don't mind right now saying that we don't know. We're working on those things. The SEC has released their policies right now on refunding tickets for anybody who purchased through the league for the tournament. We are working internally and providing some options for our ticketing fans and our teams to give them some options of what they're going to do moving forward. And we're going to be in touch with everybody directly on that. But we are asking for a little bit of patience. We're working on it. We'll be in touch.
Would you like to direct people to LSUsports.net if they have questions or anything like that, or just wait until they hear from LSU Athletics?
Yeah, we'll send emails directly, but certainly check out LSUsports.net and our social media channels. But if you're a ticket holder and you purchased from us at some point in time here in the near future, you will hear from us directly with some instructions and options to consider.
Okay. Robert, we appreciate the time. Safe travels back. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt.